Okay, so you know how we've been talking about AI assistants, like the kind that can set timers and play music?
Right.
Well, imagine taking that like a huge step further. Like, what if you had an AI that could actually write code for you, do your research, even manage other AIs?
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you really think about it.
It really is. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, Agent Zero. And like the first thing that struck me was that this isn't just some, pre-programmed AI with a fixed skill set. It's more like,
It's like you're training your own digital apprentice,
yeah, exactly.
which is a great way to think about it because Agent Zero is designed to be a general purpose assistant. So rather than having like separate AIs for writing, coding, scheduling, whatever, you have one AI that can learn and adapt to all sorts of tasks.
So it's not limited to what like the developers initially programmed it to do. How does that even work?
The key is that Agent Zero sees your computer as a toolbox. It can actually write and execute code using your operating system's capabilities.
Hold on. It's writing code on my computer
Yep, that's right.
as we're like talking right now.
It can, yeah. Imagine uh, you need to grab information from, say, a bunch of different websites and then organize it all into a spreadsheet.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of doing that manually or even using some pre-built software, Agent Zero could write a custom script to do all of that for you.
Okay, that's seriously impressive, but how does it know what code to write? It's not like it's like reading my mind or something.
Not quite mind reading, huh? But you're hitting on something really important here, and that's clear communication.
Okay.
You're basically the architect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Agent Zero is like your super-powered contractor.
Yeah.
You provide the blueprints, the instructions, and Agent Zero will use its coding skills to build it all out.
So the clearer my instructions, the better the results I'm going to get.
Exactly. It's all about giving those clear, specific prompts. And the really cool part is that Agent Zero actually remembers those instructions and the solutions it came up with for future use.
So it's constantly learning and improving over time. Like if I show it how to do something once, it can build on that knowledge later on.
Precisely. It builds up this memory bank of past solutions, code it's written, even like specific facts or instructions you've given it. Which means over time, it just becomes more efficient and reliable, kind of like, a human apprentice would.
Mm.
But it gets even more wild. Imagine Agent Zero not just remembering solutions, but actually managing other AIs.
It can do that. Okay, hold on. We're talking AI that can control other AIs. How does that even work on a practical level?
So it's called multi-agent cooperation.
Yeah.
Let's say you have like a really complex task, something like planning a trip.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of trying to tackle it all at once, Agent Zero can break it down into smaller, more manageable subtasks. Booking flights, finding accommodation, creating the itinerary, things like that. And then it can delegate each of those subtasks to a specialized AI agent.
So it's like having a whole team of AI specialists working for you, each with their own area of expertise.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
got it. And here's the real kicker. Agent Zero, it acts as the project manager. So it's coordinating all these sub-agents, making sure they're working together efficiently, and then it compiles all the results back into this nice cohesive whole. You're not just like managing tasks, you're conducting an AI orchestra.
Okay, I think I'm like starting to grasp the potential here,
Yeah.
and it's huge. But let's talk about control for a second. If Agent Zero is the one writing code and managing these other AIs, how much control do I actually have over, well, all of it?
That's a great question. And it gets right to one of the things that makes Agent Zero so different. It's incredibly customizable. Remember how we were talking about it not being, pre-programmed for specific tasks?
Right.
Well, that same flexibility, it extends to how you can tailor it to your own needs.
Okay, so walk me through that a little bit. What does customizable actually mean in like practical terms?
Well, for one thing, it's open source.
Okay.
So imagine being able to like look under the hood of your smartphone and actually tweak the operating system. But in this case, it's for your AI assistant.
Wow.
You can actually see and modify the core code of Agent Zero itself.
So it's not like some black box AI where you just have to trust that it's doing what it's supposed to?
Not at all. And that means you can adjust its learning process, create custom prompts that are specifically designed for, how you like to work, even modify how it uses those computer tools that we talked about.
That's pretty amazing. I'm already thinking about like how I could streamline my design process or even just like manage my inbox more efficiently.
Right.
But I mean, all this power has to come with some responsibility, right? What about safety?
You are absolutely right to be thinking about that. Agent Zero is powerful, so the developers really emphasize running it in a secure environment. Think of it kind of like a virtual sandbox where your AI can, play around without affecting anything critical on your system.
So something like a virtual machine
Hmm.
or a Docker container.
Exactly. That way, even if, something unexpected happens, maybe a prompt wasn't totally clear or the AI kind of interpreted something in a way that you didn't anticipate, the potential damage is contained. Your main system is protected.
Okay, that's reassuring. It's like having a safety net for when your superpowered intern spills their coffee on the keyboard. But in this case, the keyboard is my entire computer.
That's one way to put it, yeah.
But speaking of safety, what about data privacy? That's something I think a lot of people are, understandably concerned about these days.
And that's actually another area where that open source nature of Agent Zero is so beneficial. You have complete transparency because you can actually see how it's handling data.
Yeah.
There's no hidden back doors or secret data collection processes going on in the background.
So I can relax knowing that my information isn't being siphoned off to some unknown server somewhere.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay, good. That's a big relief.
And here's the best part, I think. Since you can actually customize the prompts in the code, you can build in your own safeguards and protocols for handling any sensitive information.
So I could, for example, tell Agent Zero to never store my passwords or to always ask for permission before it accesses certain files.
Exactly. You got it. The level of control is really remarkable. You're not just a passenger on this ride. You are in the driver's seat making decisions about how this thing operates and how it evolves. But, it's not a solo journey either. There's a whole community that's kind of along for the ride.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask about that. You mentioned a community earlier. What's the deal there?
So Agent Zero has this really vibrant, really supportive community of developers, enthusiasts, just regular users who are all contributing to its growth.
What kind of things are people in the community doing?
Oh, it's really all over the map. They're sharing their Agent Zero setups. They're collaborating on new features, developing these custom tools, basically just kind of pushing the boundaries of what's possible with this technology.
So it sounds like a fantastic resource for anyone who's, looking to learn more about Agent Zero, maybe get some help, or even contribute to its development.
It absolutely is. There's something for everyone, whether you're, a coding whiz or you're just starting out. The Agent Zero community is all about sharing that knowledge and pushing those limits of what we can do with AI.
I love that kind of collaborative spirit. We've talked a lot about the potential of Agent Zero, but I'm curious about, some real world applications. What are people actually using this for today?
Well, because it's so customizable, the applications are incredibly diverse. I mean, some people are using it for fairly, I guess you could say, everyday tasks like automating data entry, writing emails, even managing their social media.
So it can handle all those little tedious things that eat up so much of our time.
Exactly. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got people using it for far more, complex stuff like scientific research, financial modeling, even composing music and creating art.
Wow. So from mundane tasks to full-blown artistic expression, and it's all powered by this same underlying technology. That's wild.
It really is. And the most exciting thing is this is really just the beginning. As more and more people start using Agent Zero and sharing what they're doing with it, we're just going to see even more innovative and unexpected applications popping up.
Yeah, I can already imagine this future where everyone has their own personalized AI assistant, custom built to their exact needs and specifications, helping them with everything from, the mundane to the extraordinary.
Right. It's a future where we're not just passive users of technology. We're active participants in shaping how it's actually evolving.
That's a really good point.
Which I think kind of leads to a really interesting question.
It really does. And it brings up something this thought that's been in the back of my mind this whole time. We're talking about all this incredible potential, but what happens when everyone has an AI assistant that's this capable? I mean, what does that actually mean for the future of work?
It's the big question, right? And it's something I think, honestly, we all need to be thinking about pretty seriously. I mean, there's no denying that, Agent Zero and these other AI technologies coming out, they have the potential to automate a lot of jobs, a lot of tasks that, frankly, are currently being done by humans.
So is this it? Is this the robot revolution we've been hearing about forever? Are we all just going to be replaced by our own superpowered digital assistants?
I don't know if I'd call it a revelation, but I do think it's definitely a transformation. a shift in how we, think about work and how we actually do work.
Hmm.
And I think instead of, kind of going down that road of fear and obsolescence, we need to focus on adapting,
Hmm.
figuring out how humans and AI can collaborate in a way that, that works for everyone.
Okay, yeah. Adapting definitely sounds a lot better than obsolescence.
Yeah.
But like, how do we actually do that? How do we, adapt and collaborate with AI in a way that's actually meaningful?
Well, let me put it this way, as AI gets better and better at handling like those routine, repetitive tasks, the ones, it frees us up to focus on things that really require those uniquely human skills.
Okay, yeah.
Things that AI, at least for now, really struggles with. Things like creativity, like
Mhm.
really complex problem solving, emotional intelligence, building relationships.
Right.
Those are all things that, are really tough to replicate with code.
So it's kind of like instead of trying to compete with AI, we shift our focus to the things that actually play to our strengths as
Yeah.
humans. Like AI takes care of all the the busy work, the boring stuff, and then we get to focus on the more interesting, big picture creative stuff.
You got it. It's about recognizing that at the end of the day, AI is a tool.
Yeah.
And like any tool, it can be used to, augment and enhance our own abilities. It's about leveraging each other's strengths to achieve more than we ever could on our own.
Okay, yeah, that's a much more optimistic way to look at it.
Right.
It's not human versus machine. It's human and machine, like, working together towards some common goal.
Exactly. And, who knows what amazing things we'll be able to do when we work together in that way. I think it's a really exciting time to, be alive and to see what happens with all this.
It really is, but you're right. Like it does require like a pretty big shift in our mindset. I mean, for individuals and honestly for like society as a whole, I think.
100%. We need to be open to learning new skills, to, adapting to new ways of working, and just being willing to embrace all the possibilities that, that AI
Yeah.
brings to the table.
Mhm.
And that goes for everyone, individuals, businesses, educators, policymakers. We all have a role to play here.
Yeah, it's like a collective effort, right, to
Yeah.
create this future where AI empowers us, instead of replacing us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This has been a really, really fascinating deep dive. I feel like we've covered so much ground from like, the really technical details to the the philosophical implications and everything in between. But for our listeners who are, maybe feeling a little bit impatient, they want to jump in, start exploring Agent Zero for themselves. Where's a good place for them to start?
The Agent Zero website's actually a great resource.
Mm-hmm.
They've got tons of stuff there, documentation, installation guides. They've got like community forums where you can connect with other users. They've even got a whole YouTube channel with tutorials and demos and stuff like that. Really well-made stuff.
Oh, wow.
And it's designed to be, really accessible for people at all levels. So whether you're like a coding wizard or you're just, starting to dip your toes in, it's a great place to start.
That's awesome. So it sounds like, no matter what your skill level is, if you're even remotely curious about having your own, customizable AI assistant, it's definitely worth checking out.
100%. Because like at the end of the day, the future of Agent Zero, it's not just up to like the developers,
Right.
It's really up to all of us
Yeah.
to, explore and experiment and really shape how this technology actually evolves.
What a great note to end on. So to everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Agent Zero. We hope you learned some stuff. We hope you're feeling inspired and, maybe just a little bit mind blown by all the possibilities.
Right.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing those limits of what's possible in this amazing age of AI.